Great.
Okay.
That's sort of like a namaste. Would you like shoes on or off?
I'm gonna leave them on.
All right. I'll take them off. Let's start in front of the chair, Cathy. And we're going to just start here. Perfect. And the chair's there, but we're here. You look lovely as usual.
Oh, thank you.
So, namaste. Let's use the breath to follow the movement. So we'll start in Tadasana, the shoulders release and the arms down by the sides. Follow your inhale as your hands gently rise. The hands can come together. We'll do this a couple of times. Send the hands to follow the exhale down and the inhale up. The exhale down at the peak of the exhale, the apex of the exhale, the hands come up, the hands come together. While we're here, let's separate the hands and then back down, back together. Separate the hands, back together. Lace the fingers, send the hands down, palms stretching down, and then slide the hands towards me and stretch all 10 fingers in the palms. And then come down, turn the hands over. There's a comfortable lace of the hands. Change the lace one digit, a different thumb comes on top. Yeah, just like that. And then stretch the palms. Slide the hands up. And then back down. And spring them open. Slide them up. Hands turn over into the heart. Let's take a look at our chair and then come back around, and then you can take a seat all the way in the chair. It's nice to look at where you're going before you go there. Let's take the feet apart a little bit wide and bring the heels up and down, up and down. And we've got the advantage of the mirror in here, which is nice in terms of figuring out where body parts are going. So just for you to know, I'm not sure from this angle, but your left knee is further in than the right. See if you can take
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, we all have those little things. It's just asking sort of where they are, and if it means the other leg needs to come in a little bit to make you more symmetrical, that's fine too. Let's come up and down a couple more times. Yep, nice shoes.
Old shoes.
Are they nails? And then
yes.
Lifting the toes and placing the feet back down. So you're emphasizing the heels. And next time you lift your toes, gently press the heels into the ground. See how that changes the framework of the lower trunk. Should help you feel a little taller. Yep. And then we're going to walk the feet 1 foot this way. And then one knee is pointed at me and the pelvis is sort of in between. Yeah? This is the beginning of the warrior poses. Look to see if you can see your big toe on both feet. If your knees are tipped in, that means you probably, or the big toe of your shoe, where your big toe would be, if you could see your big toes. And then take one hand to the heart. We're going to actually wave at what's behind us. Wave the wall behind us. And, you know, the hand can be low or high. And then bring that hand to the hip and slide the other hand out in front of us. The hand can be low or high. You can look at the knee, the front knee, and ask that the front knee and the foot and then be tracking in line with each other. And then if you want, you can slide one hand back and one hand forward for a seated warrior pose. Yep, and the hands a little low or a little high is fine. And then from here, actually, wherever you are, turn the palms up. Yep, that turns the upper arm out a little bit and the shoulder blades kind of shimmy. And then turn the back palm down and take the back hand to the chair. Yep, and lift this palm up slightly, just aspiring to, and you can kind of look at the fingertips and see where it's comfortable to lift. You can come all the way up, but of course according to your shoulders. And then it would be a little tip towards the wall on the back side of the room. Nice, Kathy. And then come back to that version of Warrior Two. And the hands come to the thighs. Walk the feet back to center. This is where we're going to do a couple cat-cows before we progress. The feet don't have to, can be hip distance apart. Lean forward at the hip crease a little bit. Yeah, and then round the back. The gaze goes down between the feet, the back is rounded, and then look across the floor towards my mat and towards me and change the arc of the back the other way. So it's mobility of the spine. Look down, the trunk slides towards the back of the chair so the back is rounded. You've got a rounded back. And then look across the floor and change the arc of the spine. Go one more time. Here I want you to notice that you can emphasize the press of the heels and the scoop of the belly and then come back up. And then we're gonna walk this foot this way, and your pelvis is oriented sort of between the two, and your legs are in an L. Look to make sure you can see where the big toe is, the big toe of your shoe on both feet. That'll help you know if the knees are tipping in, yeah. And we're gonna start with that back hand, which should be your left hand at the heart. And we're gonna slide the hand out and wave at our reflections behind us. And then slide the front hand out. The palms will be facing down, yeah. Even no matter where your hands are, but feel like you're stretching the baby fingers away from each other so the arms are very long and strong. Yep. You can turn both palms up, which helps with an outward rotation of the upper arm as well as the lower arm. And then the back hand turns down. The top palm, the front palm is still up. The back hand, your left hand, comes to the chair for support. And then look to that upraised palm. And just according to where you're comfortable, lift the hand. Kind of with your sight or with your awareness, watch the fingertips and find where you're comfortable. You don't have to go as far as I go, but it's a little bit of a side bend. And then we're going to come back to Warrior Two. That means both hands are outstretched. Look over those front fingers. There's a gentle press of the heels into the floor to give you a sense of sitting tall. And then bring the hands to the thighs. Walk the feet together, or not all the way together, in front of you so they're hip distance apart. There's a slight lean, a weight, bringing your hands to your knees, a little bit of weight on the knees. Round the back, we'll move through the cat, cow a couple of times. You can use your exhale to round the back, and then inhale to release. And then I'm going to turn sideways for a moment so you can see And you don't have to, you can stay facing me. So when I say lean, I want the whole trunk to lean. It means a little more weight comes onto my feet. I have a tendency to round my back, have my tail feathers go out at this point, that's fine. But then with the exhale, we're gonna round the back. Your hands are still on your knees. And then on the inhale, I look along the floor towards the wall in front of me and I round my back the other way. So now I tip my tail, I look out, there's a little bit of a rounded shape to the back. That's the cow phase. And then I again round my back towards the wall behind me or towards the back of the chair and then release up to a sitting tall. So Cathy, is there anything you especially would like in your practice today in terms of addressing anything in particular?
Probably my back
Okay.
would be good.
Then a little bit of mobility of the spine is good. I want you to think about the front bottom ribs and have them move in a little bit. So you can take a hand, so your front bottom ribs are here. The front bottom ribs, of course, go all the way to the back. So if you gently tuck them in, it means the back is broader back here. So you can take your hands here to your thighs. It's a little bit of a reflection of the cat phase of cat-cow. And then I want you to slide your left hand towards me, and I want a little bit of a lateral stretch as you point towards that chair with the towels. So what you've done is you tuck the front ribs in, the back ribs are broader, and you've got a little bit of a side stretch as you reach towards that chair, and then come back down. So it should be a nice stretch for the back. If you need a wider stance, please take one. It's going to be a gentle tuck of the front ribs in, and then reaching out towards this corner, so it's a stretch from the back right hip or buttock across the lower back to the upper back to the shoulder to the tips of the fingers. So it should be a nice stretch, and then bringing that hand back down. Was that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. With that, I want to come back to the leg placement for Warrior 2. Yeah. I want you to take an elbow to this knee. Now, I still want you to gently tuck the ribs, widen back the lower back, and then take your hand out towards that corner again. So this is an extended side angle type of pose. The front hand can tip down if you'd like. I'm relying on my weight on my knee to support me. And then come back up. Yeah. You let me know if anything is too much or not enough for that matter. And then take your feet the other way, the other L. You can take your left hand to your hip. Your right elbow slides to that right knee. And I would look at the knee for a moment. You can see the toes just beyond the knee, I think. Is that comfortable for you to bring weight onto the leg?
Here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then with that, slide your left fingertips to point at me and then point back at the chair. Yeah, and it should be a stretch from the back left buttock across the lower back to the tips of the fingers. The gaze is a little bit down. You can always make this more challenging to look out or up. So the pose, and then come back up to seated. Let's do that brilliant chair pose that you're so good at. So walking towards the front, your buttocks sits bones to the front of the chair. The feet are a little bit back, so the heels might be up a little bit, but that way as you come forward, the heels can drop down and have space. We'll do this 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this time we'll come to standing. Kathy, you're amazing.
It's the one thing I can do.
It's a beautiful thing to do, isn't it? If you have one thing you're really good at, that's a good one. I would like to change it, use a wall. And I think I'll probably bring you over here, but let me demonstrate, all right? I'm gonna slide the mat here. I'm just gonna have you use the mat. This mat. And I'm gonna bring it all the way against the wall. We're gonna do a few things here. We'll be a little bit away from the wall, but you know you can rest back at any point, which is great. I think I'll bring a chair here just for a little extra, but let me get an extra to hold on to if you need it. We're gonna step the feet wide, and I'll be at your spot, and then I want you to take your right toes here and your left heel back. You can settle the back here, but what we'll do is you'll do it here, and then you can reach for, so it's triangle pose. And then we'll come up and do the second side. You can rest your back if you'd like, that's fine. A hand to the hip, and you're just gonna stretch out and bring one hand, and then the hand can stay here or go high. And then we come up, re-parallel the feet, heel, toe, step the feet together. You come here, and I'll be over here. I'm gonna slide this mat a little closer so I can be a little closer to you. Just stand in Tadasana for a moment, which is just standing with your feet hip distance apart. Yeah, great. And then I, just for a little extra, I'm gonna offer you this. So you're here. I could be straight across from you. That might be a little easier. And I'll mirror you. So we're going to start just for good, to bring the hands up and the hands to the heart. Take the hands to the hips. Step the feet a little ways apart to a comfortable stance. And then rest back for a moment with your weight, your back against the wall, so you just kind of get how far away you are.
So lean against the wall?
Yeah, lean against the wall, and then I'll have you come away from the wall. So lean against the wall, now come away from the wall. And now come a little further apart with your feet. So so triangle pose definitely tries to challenge your legs to do this pose. Take a moment, rock onto your right heel and turn your right toes to the short end of the mat, and then the left heel comes back a little bit. But with triangle pose, you're trying to keep the back as if you're leaning against a wall. So our pelvis tends to tip. Try to bring it back here. At any point, reaching toward, settling your back onto the wall will actually be helpful. Now with your right hand, your right leg straight, try to reach for the mirror. Your left hip kicks back. Yeah, so see if you can reach towards the mirror and rest the fingertips on the mirror. If you want to be a little closer, that's fine, because that touch will help support you. Yeah. And then come back up for a moment, Kathy. Go ahead and take your feet parallel for a moment. Go ahead and settle all the way onto the wall. I think that'll be really helpful. So yeah, now let's go at it in this direction one more time. Right toes to the short end of the mat. and settle the pelvis back. Now this hip goes this way, and reach for the mirror. And just try to bring your fingertips to touch the mirror or your palm if you feel comfortable. And that gives you a sense of triangle pose. The full expression of the pose is one hand will go down and that one hand will go up. But just like in any yoga practice, finding just enough support to have you settle into comfortably into a pose is good. And then take your time, come back up, re-parallel, the feet, and we're going to set up for the second side. I'm going to use the chair for you to reach for this time. So your left foot will point this way. So and then see if you can nudge your other heel back a little bit. Yes, just like that. You're aspiring for these toes to point right at the chair. And you tell me if this is too close or too far away. The right hand is on your hip. The right hip kicks towards the mirror. You can settle onto the wall if that's helpful for you in terms of your back being parallel to the wall, and then reach for the chair. The chair's a little too close, isn't it? Take a little, see how that is, yeah. How was that, Cathy?
That's all right.
All right, yeah. So it would be here, and then of course the full expression would be one hand down and one hand up. But even this hand down is great.
Yeah, this is not gonna.
Yeah, leave it on your hip, that's fine. And then come back up. Re-parallel the feet. And heel, toe, step the feet together. Stand for a moment in Tadasana. Let the hands come high following the inhale. Hands come together. Let's stay near the wall, because I think that's a good arrangement. You've got a chair here. We're going to work with a version of downward facing dog, which we've done before. We're going to be here. We're going to use the chair to walk back. You've got the wall beside you that'll give you a little bit more, a sense of support, I hope. And you walk your feet back, your knees can be bent, and you try to stretch your arms away from the chair. You walk back as far as is appropriate. Yeah, that's great, Cathy. And where do you feel the stretch?
In my lower back and in my buttocks.
Yeah, and is it a good stretch for you?
Mm-hmm.
Good. And your shoulders are just one of your things that you get to work with, but I want you to make your arms very straight. So the straighter your arms are, the more you're talking to the shoulder blades. So even if you're not, with the trunk isn't all the way parallel with the arms, the arms being, and then you try to slide the tailbone towards the wall behind you, so you stretch. That's great. May I come and catch your hips right here, but I'm really not going to do anything except suggest that your hips have a lot of ability to fold. And it's just a sense of folding here so that the lower back has a nice stretch. How is that, Cathy?
That's fine.
Your colors are wonderful today.
It's an accident.
A planned accident, I think. You always look great. And if you did that by accident, I'm very impressed. And then walk your feet back towards the chair. Yeah, and pause for a moment here and turn this way. You've got the chair, you can take one hand to the heart, the foot furthest away from the chair, bring the heel up. Yep, perfect. Bring the ball of the foot up, but keep the toe on the floor. You can also look in the mirror to see where you are. Isn't that great to have the mirror? Now, see about raising the knee up slowly, tapping the toe back to the floor. You can use the mirror if you need. I think it's really helpful. And then we're gonna bring enough support onto that foot you feel comfortable sliding the knee out to the side. The heel can settle into the ankle, and you can check the mirror to see where you are. Yeah, perfect. Stand tall on the standing leg. And then if you want, you can bring both hands to the heart. So this is a version of tree pose. Nice, Cathy. And then if you like, you can bring the hands up a little higher. Or one hand up a little higher. Or alternate between the two. And the next level of pose, if you choose, is to bring the hands apart. Roots grow deep and the branches high. Hands down to the heart and the foot to the floor. The hands down by the sides. Let's turn toward the chair. We'll do tree pose on the second side in a minute or two. But I'd like you to use that version of a downward facing dog to slide back. Stretching the back. You can bend the knees. That might give you more ability to fold at the hip crease. Slide the tail back. It should be a nice stretch for the lower back. And then take your time, walk the feet towards the chair. We'll shift the chair to this other side, just like that. Tree pose on the second side, but just pause for a moment to Tadasana. And then hands to the heart, or one hand to the heart and one hand to the chair. You know you've got that choice. Weight your foot closest to the chair and let the left heel come up. You can always, the chair's kind of in the way, but you can look to see what's happening. The ball of the foot and the toe. And then lifting the knee and bringing the toe back down. You're like me, your knee, this knee likes to come in toward the center line. Exaggerate it slightly as if it could go out. It's going to change the demand on that standing leg, but that's, I think, good for you in terms of balance. Yeah. And then we're going to swing the knee out and tuck the heel in comfortably. Stand tall, and then if you want, you can take one hand out, the other hand out too, or you can leave it on the chair. Whatever is best for you, the versions of tree pose. Standing tall. Of course, trees sway in the wind, but the roots are anchored to the center of the earth. Well, maybe not really to the center of the earth, but I like to say that. That's my image. for support, stability, connection to the ground. Take your time. Hands down into the heart. And foot swings in so the foot can come to the floor. Stand in Tadasana. Slide the hands up, watching out for the chair. That's the inhale as the hands come together and the hands to the heart. We're here. Let's do one more, our version of a downward facing dog. As you walk back, the knees can be a little bent. You're trying to drop the tail back and towards the floor so you can stretch the lower back. Bend the knees just a wee bit more and then tip the tail towards the floor and roll up to standing and walk the feet back towards the chair. Let's slide our chair back towards one another with just the front feet on the mat. Oh, I need to move the mat for you. I won't do. I think I need about that far. And then we'll be face to face like this. Face to face. Right. Come to stand in front of the chair. Now we're going to bring our feet together and come into a chair pose. You can, how low can you go? And then when you just need to sit down, you can sit down. Perfect. We're going to be back to back. You're going to end up facing the blue wall behind you. Pause for a moment. Let me show you. We've done this before. We're going to use the knees pointed this way, which means we're going to turn away from each other as we hold on to the back of the chair. You're going to be right up against the blue wall. I hope, and yeah, like that. And yes. And then as you look towards the blue wall, you're looking over your right shoulder. Just like that. I can see you in the camera. That's great. That's so cute. I can see you in the camera. That's very cute. And as you're here, I want you to press with your outside foot. So as you look to the blue wall, I want you to have a little purchase with this leg. So look to the blue wall and hold on to the back of the chair. And press with this foot slightly. Both hands will be on the back of the chair. So when I say press, that means the foot to the ground. So it should give you a little bit more support for the spiral. Do you sense that?
So press my feet into the floor.
Yeah, especially this one because there's a diagonal support all the way to the right shoulder. Now, as you're here, stay here. I want you to think about this shoulder blade wrapping back around so the inside of the shoulder blade comes towards the spine. So it's just waking up the, if I'm here in a spiral, it's waking up this shoulder blade that it can lead or wrap around. Yeah, just like that. And then release the back of the chair, look towards the mirror. And then walk around to the second side. So this time the knees will be pointed out. Your left shoulder is going to lead the way. That means, and your right leg is going to press. Your right leg is going to press. Your left shoulder leads around as you look over the back of the chair. Yeah. And may I come over and just talk to the left shoulder? So it's this left shoulder blade slightly wraps around as you look towards the blue wall, Cathy. Yeah, and that sort of helps the spiral as you press gently with that right foot to the ground. And that should give you more support for the spiral. Take a few breaths here. And then come back around, and we're gonna walk our feet back this way. Will you feel comfortable on the ground for a little bit?
As long as I can get up.
I promise I'll go get 10 strong people to come and pick you up if you can't get up.
Okay.
I'm gonna get something for your head so that we can work on the back. So what I'd like you to do is make your way down so you can lie on your back with your head here. You can use the chair. Nicely done, my dear. I'm going to move the chair. It will come back when you need it. Comfortable? I don't want that coming into your... And is that a good height for your head?
I think so.
It looks like it. And I'd like you to take your arms out to shoulder height like this. Yeah. And then the palms are facing up. And stretch through your baby fingers. Squeeze the shoulder blades in toward the spine and release. In toward the spine and release. To me, it feels like I'm making my elbows heavy and turning my biceps out to make that happen. To make my shoulder blades slide in, I make my elbows heavy and I turn my biceps, my upper arms out, so it almost feels like I'm making my thumbs heavy towards the ground. Go ahead and walk your feet a little wider. And I want you to sway your knees to the right and to the left. So it's a gentle sway from side to side. Fold the elbows and take your hands to your hip points, the top of your hips. And as you sway the knees, ask the hips to not move too. So you just want the knees to sway without the hips. So it'll reduce the movement, but you're kind of working on or asking the hip joints to have that movement. Yeah. We're going to do a bridge, but I want to take one of those pads away, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're a little lower so there's not stress to the neck. But I want you to start by bending the elbows, pressing the upper arms into the ground so that it doesn't come onto your neck. So it takes the weight, should come onto the upper trunk. Your feet are hip distance apart. You're going to ask the glutes to fire, and I would like you to tip the tail off the ground into a bridge just like that. Stay for a moment and then roll down. This time, roll up just a little higher, just like one vertebra higher, and then roll back down. We'll go 3 more times. Rolling up, stay, and rolling down. One more time. I lost my count. I think you have one more to go after
Yeah,
this.
one more after this.
All right. Cathy, your glutes look very strong. And then the next time you come up into a bridge, I'm going to slide this under your pelvis. So
Okay.
you'll settle into a little bit of a posterior tip. And you'll let me know if you find it comfortable. So So slide up. This comes under the widest part of the pelvis and settle your pelvis back down. How is that?
That's fine.
Okay. Now I'd like you to draw your right knee into the chest and hold on to that knee. And then draw your left knee into the chest. And then send this left leg high up to the ceiling. Just like that. And then slowly, holding onto this knee, lower this leg straight out and down. How is that?
That's fine.
Okay. And then it should be that you get a stretch through the hip crease.
Mm-hmm. I do.
Good. And then draw, so linger here for a moment. And then draw the left knee into the chest. Hold on to that knee, and the right leg goes high to the ceiling. You can tip your toes towards you, stretch through the heel, and then lower that leg slowly straight down. So this leg stays high, and then you
like
lower it slowly down. Just coming to the place where you find a good hip crease, good stretch through that hip crease. Is that good?
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
Look at your flexibility.
Yes.
And then draw the right knee into the chest. Yeah. And take both feet high to the ceiling. You can see your feet. I want you to circle your ankles. So it'll look like this. You circle your feet and you're looking for the flexibility of the ankles. And it's nice to be able to look at the feet. Yeah, and then other way around. And then come back, the legs are together. Do you want a strap? Would a strap make it easier?
To do what?
Just to have your feet up above you. Are you comfortable with your feet above you?
Yeah, okay.
Because what I want you to do is tip the toes towards you and away, because I want you to stretch the back of the calves and the ankle, the Achilles heel. I wanted to do a little bit of inversions with you today, so this is a version of, a way to get your feet above your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And how is that on the pad?
That's fine.
Is everything good?
Mm-hmm.
And then bend the knees. Take the feet to the floor. I'm going to have you roll up so that I can take that pad out from under you. Yeah. And then roll down. I'm going to have you roll up to a seated position. Take your time. You can roll onto your side or straight up, whatever is better for you. Yeah. And then while we're here, we're going to work on both pose for a moment. This is a good pose for abdominal strength. I want you to catch the back of the knees. The legs can be together, that'll give you more support. I want you to hold on to the back of the knees and rock back. Yeah, so are we turning on your low abdominals? Good. And then I want you to bring the heels up and down, up and down, up and down. Try the heels. 2. And then can you hover the feet? See if you can ask the shoulders to be easy and light. And then slide the legs out. Tip the toes, take your hands beside you, tip the toes towards you and away. Towards you and away. And I'm going to give you these 2 pads to sit on. Are you able to lift yourself up a little bit so that you can, yeah.
I don't know about this.
Okay, that's okay. That's what I thought it might be challenging
Yeah.
to get up,
Yeah.
to lift yourself up, because it has to do with, just pieces. But let's put this behind you, because that'll be a little more supportive. Because I'd like you to stretch your hamstrings a little bit before we come up, because it has a lot to do with the back. So your knees can be bent, if that's better for you, or you can slide them out long. Yeah, I thought you'd be comfortable. And then tip your toes towards you, stretch your heels away, and then slide your hands down your legs. You don't have to go very far. Yeah, bent knees is fine because the energy is straightening the legs or having the legs drop towards the ground, but it should be. Do you feel it back here?
Mm-hmm.
Good. That's what I wanted, and I wanna, there. I don't know why, I just think that even a little tap back here is so supportive. Yeah. And then we're gonna extend out. Go ahead and use your hands right here and separate your feet and wiggle your feet back in and out. So when you do abdominal stuff like with the bow pose, the hip flexors like to get tight, and it's nice to just remind them that they can relax a little bit. That's why I wanted to do that bridge hip flexor stretch when you were holding onto a knee and extending the leg out. Okay? Okay. There was a movement like, okay, darn it, I'm ready to start moving. All right. I'm gonna put the chair here and slide towards you. You're gonna bring one knee up, so your foot's on the floor. Cathy Sachs, you always make it sound like you're so worried about giving up, but you're like, you just float up. All right. To end the practice, let's come back to standing in the middle of the mat. I'd like you to take your hands behind you, it looks like this, and squeeze the arms, the hands down, press the upper arms into the pelvis, and slide the shoulder blades in towards each other. The collarbones are wide. A lot of times in yoga, they'll do various things with this pose. Everything from forward folds to doing balance poses on one leg. We're just going to stand here. That's plenty. So it's a way to spread the front collarbones. I want you to take your arms around, and your right arm is going to come on top of your left, and we're going to just slide the elbows around in a little circle, and then the other way around. And then as you release the arms, we'll come back to this, but the shoulder blades slide towards each other behind your back. I always say try to kiss. And then the other arm. Now, see how comfortable you are at taking the elbows quite high, like you're pulling a tight t-shirt off. And circle the other way. A little bit of Qigong is just to shake the hands, the lower arms, the upper arms, the shoulders. Turn the head a little from side to side. Vibrations are emerging evidence, which if I haven't told you before, emerging evidence that vibrations are good for bone health. And then, like a good rock and roll, shake all the way to the tail. You just shake wherever you need. It's just a bouncing, shaking. And then hold on to the wall or the mirror and shake a leg. It is a tricky way to get you to balance on one leg, but it's also, the thigh, the calf, the foot, just giving it a little shake. Everything sort of releases. And then the other side, other leg. Let's take about a minute and just come to a seated position, Cathy. And I think we'll close the practice. Yeah, you're good there. We'll close the practice just with a moment a minute or so of just silence and Shavasana. So you're letting the shoulders release, the face is soft. The collarbone is broad. The arms are quiet, the elbows resting by the side. The knees are moving out and away. So the direction is out and away, which sets up a nice arrangement of the pelvis and lower back. The feet are settled on the floor. Notice the inhale. You can whisper a sigh, an om or an ah to extend the breath. Ah. The lips come together at the end of the inhale. Exhale. And you can om, om. Just an extension of the breath. One more sigh or om. Om. Thank you, Cathy.
Thank you, Garnet.
Namaste. All right, let's see if cross your fingers that our video went well.